Now, I got into this because I was a teacher, and I was a teacher because my dad was a teacher, and he was really inspirational. And I slightly fell into being a teacher. I followed his footsteps. And unlike him, who was inspirational, I was okay. I was not a Maggie. I was an average, okay teacher. A normal, not normal teacher, because normal teachers are inspirational, but I was okay. But one thing I was very keen to do was to inspire the children. And one way I did that was to bring people in to meet them, to inspire them. And that's really what I want to talk to you about today. There we go. Right, so as we started this morning on Flying High, I thought we'd have a picture to pick up our theme this morning. We started the charity 15 years ago, and it's really trying to show young people what is possible and give them the chance to meet people, to be inspired. And I'd never met Maggie before, but I have met one of the other Global Teacher Awards, and I have taken them into a school, and I have seen the impact on those children of listening to someone who's won the prize and being acknowledged. So, a nice thing there. Right, I'm going to do mine in two parts. First part is the research. Now, I was here virtually last year. This is quite a different talk, so if you heard me before, this will be quite different. And I'm also going to focus on the action. So one of the nice things about being here in person, other than this amazing venue and looking around, it's utterly stunning, was I was able earlier to listen to some of the young people talking about their experiences at school. And it was just amazing to hear the impact all of them had about their teacher. And it was lovely to hear. So congratulations to those schools and those students, because it was fantastic to hear the difference that teachers are making to children's lives. Right, so the research is going to start off with, about what do young people aspire to and who is influencing these choices. Nearly 7 years ago, we did a report that looked at children in 19 countries. We did something really simple. We got them to draw a picture of what they wanted to be. But we also asked them, why did you draw that picture? Did you know anyone who did that job? And so the results were, now, I've got one or two slides with quite a lot of words on, but I thought actually for those of you who are interested, you can take a screenshot of that, because otherwise if I was reading everything out and it was being translated into Italian, we'd be here a very long time. So there are one or two slides that have quite a lot on it, but I'm not going to go through every word on it. The key thing of this report was that gender stereotyping was evident in every country. Children define or look at people and think about their jobs often by their background or their gender and sometimes their race. And they have very deep ingrained stereotypes on that. Family, TV, one of the biggest influences on young people and their aspirations. Very few are actually getting to meet role models from outside the family. And there's this massive disconnect between what children aspire to and where the jobs are. In the UK, top job for girls was teacher, maybe not surprisingly, because in the UK, and I think probably some here in primary schools, the majority of teachers are female, so what better role model do they see every day than teacher? So not surprisingly, they want to be a teacher, and that's pretty universal. Boys, sports, you'll see the sort of gender differences there. In New Zealand, very similar patterns there, but we asked them really who was influencing them. And you'll see at the top, family member, followed by family friend. So the environment you grow up in is influencing your aspirations. Then we said, how else have you heard about it? Well, you'll see there famous people, TV, and at the bottom, people going into the school, less than 0.5% actually going into the school to talk to children. Hope this works. We then looked at where the jobs are and where the young people are. Now, these are only primary schools, and I'll come back to why this is important. Obviously, primary is not about jobs, but there is a link here to early aspirations, and long-term destinations. So what this is showing in large coloured dots is where the jobs are and what young people aspire to. And you'll see there's very little in common. We've recently done a study in Sweden, and the drawings the children are doing are absolutely lovely. You know, you sit down, it's a really simple thing to do, draw a picture of what you want to do, and you get the most beautiful artwork, funny, poignant, thoughtful. So there's a zoo. Now, as many of you know, Sweden does very well on gender and gender equality. It's normally 2 or 3, I think on this game it's number 5. So who's going to tell me what the top job choice of girls in Sweden is? You can answer it in Italian if that suits you, and then someone will translate it. And I'm going to pick someone at the back if they don't ask, or someone from there. Go on, what's the top job? Maggie, I'm going to ask you.
A nurse, a teacher.
Nurse, all right, okay, nurse, teacher, there, up there. What else? Oh, you're that shy. Dancer, singer. I'll give you a clue.
Influencer.
Hairdresser. Why do you say hairdresser? Hairdresser.
Soccer game.
Soccer, there you go. That was last year. Hairdresser. No scientists, no ICT. And we've done similar things in other countries. We're doing work in Iceland at the moment. That is not dissimilar. We were a bit surprised. Didn't bother me, obviously, but it bothered a few other people. Northern Ireland, this was last month. Here again, footballer, teacher, hairdresser. And then we looked at the jobs in Northern Ireland. Here we go. So loads of children want to work in culture, media and sport, 1% of the jobs. We've got loads of areas, particularly in ICT, in film, in cyber, in all sorts of areas, and virtually no children aspire, or probably because they don't know. Not their fault, they just don't know. Parents, TV, biggest influence. And the one thing that's changed since 2017 is social media, a massively distorting effect. So what we're finding is kids' aspirations are either based on who they know, who they see, or social media. And that is having a real distorting effect. And social economic disadvantage has a massive impact. So where you live, if you live in a rural community, you have different aspirations than if you live in a city. And that will apply here, it applies all over the world. So we looked a little bit about, thanks to some of those subjects, looking at where the jobs are and what young people are. And we did a little snapshot last year of 3 schools. This is all in Italian, so I can't understand a word of it, but you can all understand it, but even I can see that sport is near the top of that, and chef is also near the top, as is doctor. But you'll see that go back to where that... It's only a small sample. It'd be lovely to do a much bigger sample. There we go. And again, we saw big differences in location. Okay, on time. So here are just some of the drawings. There you go. I ought to start with this. I want to be a teacher. Why? Because of my teacher. There we go. And they just, aren't they lovely? Hope and aspiration and imagination. All right. I have a few female footballers, you'll be pleased to know. They're just gorgeous. And in some places we've done this and we've had them on exhibition. We could do this here, you can have them on exhibition boards, you can put in art galleries, you can have them all over the place. And my particular favourite, as you'll see, chef. Can't be in the city without having a chef in there. Now you might say, why does this matter? These are only primary school, things change. And of course they do change. And the focus at that age is really about the love of learning, the excitement, instilling, getting kids interested in the subjects, the values, the beliefs and everything. It's nothing about jobs. It matters, in my view, for the following, because actually the career aspirations of 7-year-olds are often similar to 17-year-olds. And so what tends to happen is that things get fixed in people's minds, and then when they get older, it gets very, very hard to change. So our bit is about trying to broaden horizons at a young age and to excite them. I think someone in the earlier was talking about that relevance of learning, the excitement, I think it was in one of the first talks, that leads to improvement. And this whole idea that if you live in a wealthy middle-class area, you're surrounded by a community, that's social capital, and you often have higher expectations and love of learning. If you live in a very disadvantaged community where people aren't necessarily used to working, or maybe generations haven't worked, it's very, very hard sometimes, that motivation and aspiration. So a lot of this is about motivation and aspiration. That was the thing we did for World Economic Forum. In light orange, 7-year-olds, dark orange, 17-year-olds, and in grey where the jobs are. So you'll see the sort of pattern. What starts at 7 tends to stick. And when you again look at the sort of, and we obviously have Andreas Schleicher later tomorrow, so I won't be stealing his thunder on some of the OECD stats, but looking at the data they have, that actually children's and young people's job horizons are actually very limited. They tend to be traditional jobs, and they're still very dependent on gender. So all this research is all fantastic, but about 8 years ago, we did a little video that didn't involve any research at all. It involved 2 classes, and we asked them to draw a picture. And we asked them to draw a picture of people doing 3 jobs. We asked them to draw a firefighter, a surgeon, and a pilot. And we did it. Are you going to come on? You're going to come in. You come up. Come on, come to the front. You know, yes, you. You are the president. And so, come on. Sorry, I'm being bottled here. And so, we did this in England, we did it in Denmark, and you all have now done Italy, and you're going to press the button, and you're going to reveal the Italian version. Okay. Just all you need to press green, okay. There we go.
In Bologna l'abbiamo fatto.
Oggi vi darò un foglio e dobbiamo disegnare una persona che fa il lavoro di carabiniere forestale. Come si chiama, hai detto? Il tuo personaggio? Federico.
Protegge la natura. È tipo come un sceriffo. Ti salvo io.
Bellissimo.
Allora, adesso disegneremo il lavoro di chirurgo.
Cura le persone.
Come si chiama? Matti si chiama.
E questa cos'è? La porta di che cosa?
Dell'ospedale. E poi per fortuna l'ho rifatto qui.
Bello, fammi vedere.
Benissimo, adesso una persona che fa il lavoro di chef.
Ho disegnato lo chef con il basso. Cucina le cose. Usa anche il cappello.
Siete pronti ad incontrare le persone che avete disegnato stamattina?
Mi chiamo Francesca e sono un ufficiale dei Carabinieri Forestali.
Mi chiamo Dalila e sono un neurochirurgo del Sistema Sanitario Nazionale.
Mi chiamo Michela e sono una chef.
C'è qualcuno che vuol provare il mio berretto? Ecco Antonio, Carabiniere Forestale.
Diventi una chef.
what a brilliant film by ADI, and I think that's going to be released maybe next week to tie in with International Women's Day, and I hope that will get real reaction across the whole of Italy. So fantastic, great to be here to show someone else's work. There we go. Now, there's a lot on this slide. I'm not expecting me to go through it all. You can go to the website and see it. But our bit is around how meeting people from the world of work makes a difference, around social mobility, aspirations, challenging stereotypes, the motivation, getting people to be less likely to be unemployed and be better informed. There's a huge amount of research in there. We've got a big library there which you can search by all sorts of topics. But if you're interested, just go to that website, have a look. Lots and lots of research. Our reports, other reports, OECD reports, all of which are around that link with the world of work and what it means. So I said this was in two halves. The second part is around action, about what schools can do. Bear in mind, teachers are always busy, not just busy, but very, very busy. So what can be done that's easy and quick that makes a difference? And this whole thing, you can't be what you can't see, I think is important, because those chance encounters, and I'm now looking at our speakers on the front, he doesn't know I'm going to say this yet, but I'm now looking at Harvan too, who's speaking tomorrow, and his lovely wife Lizzie, who we were talking to earlier. They had a chance encounter. It was 58 years ago. You met in Vienna, walking down the street, and you've just recently celebrated becoming great-grandparents. And all the work that you've been involved in, stems from those connections. So those chance encounters really make a difference to young people and who they meet and who they see. And what I'm going to explain now is how you can give children more chances than they would otherwise have in their communities. So giving more chances is what this is about. Again, a lot in here, but what's special about the world of work? When I was a teacher, it helped me because it helped inspire children. It helped show why the subject I was trying to teach, science and technology, why it was important. It brought that subject to life, and it showed them things I couldn't. I didn't know about careers. I didn't know about the workplace. I knew a little bit about teaching, but I could get people to come and talk to them, and they could talk to them and find out and discover future things. So all of those sort of things. And, technology now is so powerful, isn't it? We're using technology, whether it's to book flights or meet each other or book restaurants. And therefore, how can we use technology to really change how children see the world? Not just statically watching a video, but actually interacting with it. And we start in the UK, and I'll show you a little bit about it here. So our technology is very simple. It does one thing. It connects people. It's like a watch. It does something, tells the time. Behind the system is very complicated, but the thing it does is really very simple. It connects. And so we spent about 14 years really trying to make a simple system that is very simple for teachers. So it's like online shopping. You go on and you want a coat in a particular colour, in a particular fabric. You go through, you pick one or two, you add it to your shopping list, and you press connect. And ours is like that for volunteers. So it gives teachers the ability to browse in England and now in some other countries, tens of thousands of people. You go online and you search, and you can search by the subject you teach. And you think, well, let's who uses those subjects? And you go through and you find people and you profile them. So the biggest difference we've found since we started is really on those places that don't have those connections, so those disadvantaged backgrounds, starting in primary, starting in secondary. And so in terms of so far, we're now approaching about 5 million interactions. We're launching in Iceland fairly shortly. And what Iceland have done, again, not quite up to the areas you were, but some of it's quite rural. They've found that career aspirations in Reykjavik are quite different to their rural communities. So why should they miss out? Why cannot they access role models. Why can't we use technology to mean that wherever they live, they can meet lots of people? Why do they all have to live in Reykjavik? You know? So that's what they're doing. And so, I don't know if this is still in English, I apologise English. So basically you go on as a teacher and you can search by the sector, you can search about subjects, languages, and so on. And then you can find people who are, so I'm interested in engineering or design, I'm in aerospace, obviously chosen, or I want someone who speaks Cantonese. You see, like your shopping list, exactly like your shopping list. So you see these people who match those criteria, then you zoom in and you see their little profile and you think, oh, that's interesting. And if you like them, you think they're going to be inspirational to your students, you click the invite, and if you don't press invite. It's as simple as that. And then we run lots of campaigns over the whole country on particular themes. So we've got a campaign on aviation where we have probably about 1,000 people who work in aviation from all roles available. People making the future, so that's craftspeople, we've got plasterers, we've got painters, we've got conservationists, we've got bookbinders, all sorts of things on there. But the thing is about the motivation and the aspiration. It's about challenging those ingrained stereotypes. And it's about sparking children's imagination. It's not telling children, it's opening up a world, so their world is not maybe as limited as it is, but it's much wider. I've got 2 minutes, so I can do that in 2 minutes. So in primary, we do a guessing game, it's a lot of fun, where you try and work out what job. Sometimes it's virtual. Last week I did one in Northern Ireland. We had a lady who was a space scientist joining from Switzerland who designed rockets. She just appeared a normal background, and then she came on with the rockets and the stuff in NASA. But she was from the community where we're in. So it's a really simple idea, dead easy for teachers. In slightly older ones, just classroom chats, getting people in. So it doesn't need any preparation really by the teachers. It doesn't really need any preparation by the volunteers. You just need a table, some children, and a volunteer. And they just ask questions. So the children are driving the questions. And then the virtual, we talked a bit about that. Again, you can do virtually within the time zone, you can do anyone, anywhere. So, you know, it doesn't matter where you live, you can connect to anybody. I just think that power of the virtual, I'm going to end on that in a minute, that power to give children the chance to interact beyond their immediate family, their immediate community, or what they see on social media is a real game changer. Secondary, a bit more traditional, lots of things going on there. So my final slide is this slide. This idea of really revolutionizing who children get to see and who their aspirations are. Because all of our research shows that family, nothing wrong with family. I, from my own thing, became a teacher with my dad, nothing wrong with that. But actually, often those can be quite limiting, particularly depending on your social background. But now with the increasing dominance of social media, everyone wants to be a YouTuber or an influencer. So how do you counter that? Well, one way, not the only way, is actually getting children the chance to meet and talk and interact with people. So it needn't limit. So we should be using technology to show young people the future. Thank you.